I barely made it to a meeting this morning. Last night we had a meeting and I got home. I decided to do some work. Took me all the way to the middle of the night, early morning. And then this morning I had a meeting with the buyer that I've been working on for the last couple of years that he wants to sell. And there's lots of problems because it's a manufacturing business. So he has questions and concerns on how far he's going to get with the transaction. He's a little bummed out because I honestly thought that the business was worth more. We first started selling the business at 7.5 million. Beautiful property, beautiful business, and I really thought he should get about 7.5, but there are issues with it. So it's difficult to break that down. There's two kinds of people, the ones that do and the ones that don't. Most business owners are doers and they just don't think about consequences too much. I think he makes decisions fast and doesn't care about he's thinking about the consequences, but he takes whatever he can get. Now, I think those are the kind of people I like to deal with because there's no right or wrong answer. If you're waiting for a right answer and you're doing all this math, sometimes people get upset at school because there's like an overthinking of things where, oh, you have to have this number, you have to have this return, you have to have this, you have to have that. But in the real world, it doesn't obviously work that way all the time. One day you could be on top of the world and that doesn't last forever. And the next day you could have 10 people blowing up your phone with all kinds of problems that never in your wildest dream could you expect. So I think that makes a big difference between somebody who's going to be bold and do things and someone who's always concerned about what might happen. So if you're always worried about what might happen, you're never going to find out what could happen. And most of the business owners that I know that are successful, just do it, right? Whether it's good, whether it's bad, just let me go ahead and do it. In my personal situation, I've always had that thing too, where I might have, $100,000, $200,000 and I'm like, let's just do it. Let's see what happens. I don't need the money. Why do I need the money? What for? What more can I need besides what's in my fridge, right? So I take chances and whether it works, fun. If it doesn't work, then, we get back to working again. I'm honestly thinking that this is what I love to do. So it doesn't matter whether I get rich or not, right? So if I love something, it doesn't really matter. What matters, and I think it comes across in several of my videos, is that you try something new and you have a story to tell, right? So this guy, he wants to sell his business and he's a millionaire. He doesn't know a lot, right? And he obviously didn't go to school and there's things that he misses, but what he knows really well and he's a decision maker. So I've dealt with other people who want to buy a business, right? They're looking to buy a business, but they never pull the trigger. I have a couple of people, 5 years, I've been trying to get them into a house, get them into some apartments, get them into a business, and they never pull the trigger, even though they have the money in the bank and they might have the experience needed to get that business going, and they never do it, right? While others have no experience, know nothing about anything, but they have faith that things are going to go your way. And if it doesn't, you lose nothing. So if you have $0 and you make $1,000, but you started off with zero and then you lose the $1,000, did you really lose anything? You had zero to begin with. So I think me personally, I was born with nothing. So if I leave here with nothing, then I'm happy with that. At least I tried. I lived for the experience, right? I live for now and I live to learn and I live to try some new shit. Right. So that's kind of where I'm at. And this guy, I just had lunch with him in Burbank. We talked about selling his business. We started selling the business for 7.5. And the highest offer that we had was for 5 million. And the offer that we have now is for 4 million. And we're going to open escrow with that. So it's always good to have a price out there. Like, you never know whether your offer is going to get accepted or not. What you want to do is make the damn offer, right? Don't be afraid to negotiate. If you're not negotiating, you're not willing and dealing, you're not getting nowhere, So you have to figure out where everybody's at. And if you give up on the negotiation and come to terms with some agreements, then you're never going to get there. The guy who wants to buy this business, he doesn't want to go up any higher, but he's willing to be partners and have some partnership with the person who owns the business currently. But the business owner does not want to be in a partnership. He wants to retire. So those are all key points that you could consider. Obviously, the partnership is scary for my seller because he knows the industry he's in, but besides that, he doesn't know how to deal with people and how to deal with the partnership. And that's a different skill set that you need to have. So he just wants to sell it. And yes, we started at 7 million. And I've had properties where people want to sell their property for X amount of dollars and they won't take anything less than that, right? But if you tell me to sell something for X amount and then there's no action and the offers that come in are only for a certain price range, then no matter what we do, how much I promote it and try to make the best presentation for your property, it's not going to sell anything above what people are offering, especially when you're dealing with commercial and you're dealing with business properties. It's only worth what somebody is willing to pay for it. And being able to accept those offers and consider them and accept one of those, then that is what's going to make you successful. So don't dwell on the past. Don't think, oh, this business is worth this much, or I need this much to pay off all my debts so I could move forward, because then you're going to get stuck and you're not going to get top dollar, or you're going to lose opportunities that you could have had if you had just moved forward. Just take the lumps, take whatever it is, how it is, and then go from there. An example I could give you is I was selling a restaurant a few years back, and the lady wanted $200,000 for the business. And I told her, let's list the business for $250,000 so we could negotiate, right? And so we started doing that. We received an offer for $220,000 6 months into trying to sell the business. And then when she did the math of how much she needed to pay and then pay me and how much she would have left over, then she's like, I think it'd be better off if we wait until we get somebody for $250,000. And I told her, if it might not be right now, it might not be ever when you get another offer. And sure enough, another 3-4 months went by and we had another offer, but that offer was only for $180,000, right? And she didn't accept that. And then we had another offer come in for like 195 and she didn't accept that. And then she had me call the person who offered 220 a year and a half later, see if they still wanted to buy it. And they had just bought a restaurant and they weren't looking anymore because they had just bought one, right? And so now there's no offer. The person selling the business hasn't made a decision. And finally, after 2.5 years, she ended up selling the business to someone for $150,000. So she could have had 220 and then moved on and taken advantage of some of the properties that were really low, but yet she spent another 2 years trying to get a better price, spent all her savings, and ended up with a worse offer than she could have ever expected because she didn't make a decision right away. So things are always changing. So when you have an opportunity to buy something, buy it, right? Don't wait till, manna from heaven falls on you and everything is free for you and you go on a shopping spree, because that's not going to happen, right? I always start thinking, did you guys ever play Monopoly? I think more adults need to start playing Monopoly. Adults need to start playing Monopoly. You guys need to start playing Monopoly. Go buy that game. A lot of people have lost that skill or forgot how to play that game. There's two games that you should really play, which is Monopoly, Risk, and Shoots and Ladders, right? I'm a big Monopoly player, right? And you start off with a certain amount of cash at the beginning of the game and you roll the dice, right? And there's different properties you could buy. The best property is Park Place and Boardwalk Avenue, correct? Those are the ones you want. But if you look at the stats in the board, like Baltic Avenue, it's likely the best one. But it's not up to you. You roll the damn dice. You roll that dice, and wherever you land, you buy that property, right? Why? Because you don't know that on the next turn run, you're going to get that property again. You're going to land at the same spot. I don't think any of you guys learned how to play this damn game. Go out. Well, Toys R Us doesn't exist anymore. Go to Amazon and buy the freaking game and give it a go, right? You roll the dice, and every time you land on a property, you buy that property. And you roll the dice again, buy that, and buy that. And then you make the whole turn, you got another $200, you pass go, and you do it again. And you do it again, year after year. Wherever you're at, you buy it, you buy it, you buy it, right? And then if you happen to land in a property adjacent to yours, then boom, you got two. And if you get all three, and bam, you got a hotel. That's what you guys need to learn. Stop playing around about, oh, when the time is right. The time is not always going to be to your liking. The time is when you land on that damn property, buy the damn thing because you can, because you have the money right there in your bank and you can do it. Do that. Learn how to play some damn Monopoly, guys.